What are the best versatile heritages in Pathfinder 2nd edition? Which ones are they? How much of an idge do you have to herit in order to... No, wait, that literally makes no sense. Let me try again. I could do a better one, but please don't jump to... This is the Dominomicon, authored and hosted by me, Dominic. The Dominomicon is dedicated to all nerdy things, with my current obsession being the TTRPG Pathfinder 2nd edition. In this video chapter, I'm going to go over the 20 versatile heritages available to all ancestries, sometimes called sub-races in Pathfinder 2e. And I'm going to throw them into a tier list, hoping to help you narrow down your selections. I'll start with a quick explanation on how these heritages work, and then we'll dive straight in, where I'll try to give them a fair assessment and ranking based on my experience with them. If you enjoy this particular video, please consider hitting the hype button, which I'm told is a thing that really helps out smaller creators such as myself. And of course, consider sharing the video and hitting that subscribe button. Thank you very much indeed. Before we dive in, Alluria Publishing is this video's sponsor after they contacted me to talk about Psionics 2nd edition, a third-party supplement for PF2e they recently released. This is an almost 300-page mega book with 6 new ancestries, 6 new classes, yes, I said 6, an entire chapter dedicated to dozens of brand new psionic feats and powers, a massive armory of psionic equipment and power gems, a Frystal familiar system, and a dedicated bestiary packed with psionic monsters to terrorize your players with. It also introduces a new resource called Psychic Energy Points, or PEP, that works similarly to a magic point system, something new for PF2e. There's a Path Builder and Foundry module on the way, and while I can't account for balance as I haven't been able to fully playtest this as of yet, I cannot wait to throw this into my Foundry campaigns to blow my players' minds. If you've been desperately missing the golden age of true points-based psionics from 3.5 and the Pathfinder 1e era, this book essentially brings that entire vibe straight into the modern PF2e remaster rule set. They even have the old Dreamscar Press team in the special thanks section. It's a massive supplement that's dripping with really interesting content, so click the link in the description to check it out. Man, let's play some of this versatile inherited music, shall we? Okay, so what is a versatile heritage, and why does it sound like something only a rich person would know about? Seriously, whenever I hear the word heritage, I immediately think of rich people. Yes, surprise, surprise, I'm not rich, even though I have this accent. Come on. Well, you can pick a versatile heritage instead of grabbing your normal heritage when you create your character. So humans, for example, you can choose between a skilled human, a versatile human, and a winter-touched human, or you can start looking at the versatile heritages. And once again, these are available to all ancestries. Most of these are uncommon, and there's a couple that are rare, but I imagine that most GMs are going to be pretty happy with the uncommon ones in particular, because they're not all that crazy, honestly. Once you've grabbed one of these versatile heritages, you can then start to take ancestry feats from said versatile heritage, which opens up your choices of ancestry feats as you level up. And of course, some are going to be good, some are going to be not so good, and that's what this tier list is about. And in this list, S is going to be the best and D is going to be the worst, very much in my opinion, as this is a tier list after all. My criteria for judgment is pretty simple. Do they have cool and or powerful feats? And is the initial benefit for taking the heritage worth losing out on a different heritage? And is the flavor for each of these heritages any good? Oh, and I'll be ignoring all of the law or weapon familiarity ancestry feats, as all ancestries get some version of them. And that's basically it. As there's 20 of these, I'm not going to dwell too long on them and just showcase some of the cooler feats for each heritage. The majority of them are uncommon, so I'll note the ones that aren't. Otherwise, just assume everything's uncommon here. And so let's dive in, going alphabetically. Aiuvarin, otherwise known as half-elves, are exactly what they sound like and are one of the 2 common heritages on this list. With elven blood flowing through you, you gain low light vision, and this heritage gives you access to all of the elf ancestry feats, and some of them are pretty strong. Forlorn is very powerful for those emotion effects, Nimble Elf is fantastic if you want to increase your speed, and who doesn't? Wildborn and otherworldly magic are great if you want a cantrip, Shield is fantastic to have in a pinch, and I really like Woodcraft because subsisting and feeding like 8 people is funny to me. And of course, as you level up, you're going to gain access to some of the more powerful ancestry feats also. Elven Instincts and Elf Step are pretty fantastic. This is going straight into A tier for me. It gives you a crazy amount of feats to pick from, and the elves are just cool, let's be honest. Aphorites are connected to the plane of law. You also get low light vision or dark vision if you already had the former. Honestly, most of the level 1 ancestry feats here aren't all that good. Intercorporate is okay, but that's at level 5. The same with offensive analysis, which gives you sure strike. Analyze information at level 9 does give you hypercognition, which I do enjoy. I just don't think any of these are all that strong. I'm gonna go with D tier for this. I just think there's better options out there. Plus, being connected to the plane of law kind of makes you sound like a nerdy lawyer or something. Also, if there's any nerdy lawyers listening to this, please do not sue me. I actually think you're amazing and I love you. Ardande, or Ardande if you're feeling festive, have connections to wood, lols, meaning that they are descendants of wood elementals or dryads etc. Taking this gives you low light vision or dark vision if you already had that. Now, the Ardande ancestry feats are actually pretty solid. Grove Harbored makes you better against plant, poison, and wood effects. Sunlit Vitality means you can survive on sunlight and don't need food anymore. Quick Root is pretty solid, as enemies are going to be tripping you sometimes. And some of the lineage feats, which can only be chosen at first level, are pretty cool as well. They're quite flavorful. Amber Soul in particular is good. Making enemies take a -1 on all their attack rolls just for hitting you is pretty solid, even if it's only until the end of their current turn. I'm going to go with B tier for this. I think it's solid and it just has some pretty fun flavor to it. Beastkin, one of the 2 rare heritages on this list, is kind of similar to like being a werewolf, I guess, in that you have your normal form and your Beastkin form. And you get to pick any animal to be your other form, and you gain a Jaws attack while in that form, though it's only 1d4 and nothing more that good, sadly. As for the ancestry feats, there's not a great deal of them, honestly. And critter shape could be potentially useful. I think animalistic resistance at level 5 is pretty good. Bonuses against diseases and poisons are never a bad thing. Pack tactics is pretty strong, though it's going to be 2 of your allies rather than 1, and usually if you've got 2 allies around an enemy, they're going to be off guard anyway. I do like Dire Form at 13, which gives you the effects of Enlarge. It basically means as long as you're in your form, you are perma-enlarged if you're into that sort of thing. And at 17, you can get Animal Shape, which can potentially give you an aerial form or even a dinosaur form, etc. It's pretty fun. Though, as most of the decent feats for this are very high level, I'm going to have to throw this into C tier. It's okay, and it's got some really good flavor, but none of the feats are all that good, honestly. The Changeling is all about No, wait, your mum being a hag, apparently. You get low light vision or dark vision if you already had the former. This heritage is quite indeed magical. There's a few claw abilities in here, like Accursed Claws and Spiteful Rake. They even get a Guardian-esque ability once per minute called Mother's Mindfulness. You just take the damage for your ally, which is interesting, certainly. And of course, they get a bunch of occult spells as they level. Crone's Cruelty gives you Warp Mind once per day, for example. Some of the lineage feats are quite interesting, and there's quite a few of them. Some of them come with spells like the Moon May and Virga May. Some of them have some decent skill-based bonuses like the Brine May. It's quite an interesting heritage, but I don't see anything in here that's super duper powerful, so I'm going to go with B tier for this one. The flavor is absolutely delicious though, honestly. So the custom mixed heritage is something you need to work with your GM with. It's with. Anyway, the point here is that you basically can pick any other ancestry and say that your character's blood is mixed with theirs. You can go half dwarf, half human, or half halfling. I'm doing a lot of double words recently, or whatever, any of the other ancestries. I don't need to go into this all that much because you just get to pick another ancestry and you start taking their feats, but honestly, because of that, this is S tier, because, you know, you could just pick any ancestry. Of course, you shouldn't really do this for min-max reasons. You should do this for flavor, but that's up to you and your handsome GM. Or pretty, maybe they prefer being called pretty. I mean, I don't mind. I'll take either one, honestly. The Dhampir Bleak. If you want to be half a vampire, then that's what this heritage is all about. So you gain Void Healing, which means you're harmed by Vitality and healed by Void, as if you're undead. And again, low light vision or dark vision if you already had the first one. This is definitely a game-changing heritage and not something that should be taken lightly. You really do need to think about this one because that Void versus Vitality healing is kind of a big deal. They do get quite a lot of different interesting vampire-esque abilities, though. You can get Fangs to give yourself, fangs. Form of the Bat at level 13 allows you to turn into, again, a bat, which, that's just pretty cool. Taste Blood is just dark and so freaking cool. This would be S tier for flavor alone, if not for the whole Void Vitality thing. So I'm going to go for A tier because it's so flavorful that it hurts my taste buds. Not dissimilar to drinking blood, I imagine. On to Dragonblood. First up, you're going to learn the Draconic language, and when you roll a success on a fear effect, you get a crit success instead, which is nice. You get to pick a Draconic Exemplar, which is where you draw your Draconic powers. There's quite a lot of different dragons to choose here, some of the coolest ones being the Diabolic and Vorpal, and by cool, I literally just mean they look cool. As for feats, you can, of course, grab Breath of the Dragon at level 1. You can grab Flight at level 5, though obviously it's limited. Scaly Hide is cool too, as is Majestic Presence at 13 to make enemies frightened in a 20-foot emanation. And there's plenty more cool feats and powerful abilities in there. Definite A tier. And plus, dragons are just cool. If you don't like dragons, go play Monopoly or something. The second common versatile heritage in this list, the Dromaar, are half-orcs, and it comes with low light vision. Orcs do get some pretty solid feats in this system. You're probably well aware of most of them. Orc ferocity is just fantastic and one of the best things you could ever take, ever. I do like Scarflick's skin at level 5 as well, but I don't think there's quite the variety and quite the power of some of the other versatile heritages. So we're going to go for B tier for Dromaar. It'd probably be C tier if not for Orc ferocity. It's a shame too, because I honestly absolutely adore orcs as an ancestry. The Duskwalker versatile heritage comes with a low light or dark vision if you already had it. You can never become undead as well, which is kind of cool as these are tied to psychopomps. You don't get a great deal of feats for the Duskwalker. A lot of them are reactions somehow, at least the level 1 ones are. And there's another double word. Why am I telling you about the double word? It's bad writing, isn't it? Clearly. Why am I telling you about that? I write the scripts. What am I doing right now? Anyway, this is usually to do with death sort of esque abilities. They do get life sense, but honestly, I don't see anything in here all that amazing, which is kind of a shame because they have a really cool flavor to them. I'm going to go with C tier, I think. Sadly, you cannot survive on flavor alone, and it's got to have some power in there, and I feel like this one's slightly lacking. The Ganzi is touched by primal chaos. You get to pick resistance to a single damage type equal to half your level. However, it is chosen at the beginning of each day, and it's random between acid, electricity, or sonic. You also get a +1 circumstance bonus to saving throw against the controlled condition. As for the feats, there's barely any of them. I count around 14, whereas most of the others have over 20. Irrepressible is very good, but most of the others are honestly kind of terrible. An Arctic Arcana, which looks pretty good, is a random based one once again, which makes it a bit of a shame, but it obviously fits whole randomness, chaos flavor. And they don't get any level 17 ancestry feats, which is madness. So I think this is going to be another D tier, sadly. You've got to give me some level 17 ancestry feats, or I'm not going to have much choice, am I? The Hungerseed means that you maybe have some Oni or Hungerseed blood in your veins. You have some horns and maybe colorful skin, fangs and claws, or a third eye. I'm saying nothing. And your horns can deal 1d6 piercing damage, which is pretty solid. As for the feats, there's once again not a lot of them. You can turn into your Oni form though, which is pretty nice, and that's from level 1. It makes you large immediately and clumsy. It's pretty terrifying because Onis are kind of scary. There are some cool feats in there. Oni Rampage at level 13, which gives you haste when you get to 50% HP, is pretty awesome stuff, but yet nothing crazy powerful in here. So I think I'm gonna have to go with C tier. It's okay, but it's definitely a better flavor one than a mechanical one. The Ifrit means you are descended from fire elementals or something similar. You get resistance to fire damage equal to half your level, which is actually rather good as fire is a common damage type, and you treat environmental heat effects as if they're one step less severe. Not too common, but it does sometimes come up. And the Ifrit feats are relatively okay, though they're quite specific. Cinder Soul is nice, reducing that persistent damage flat check DC is never a bad thing. Fire Sight could be useful, but again, it's quite specific because it's ignoring concealed by smoke and or fire. Aside from that, I don't really see anything super strong in here, so I think this is going to be a bottom end of B tier for me. Again, it's okay, there's just nothing really strong mechanically. I think the initial benefits are probably better than most things. The flavor's fine as well, but nothing spectacular. We all love the Nephilim, although apparently no one can decide how to pronounce it, as Paizo says Nephilim and everyone else says Nephilim. Well, anyway, these are the replacements for your Tieflings and Aasimar. Again, you get low light or dark vision, and some of the feats here are really cool. And there's a significant amount of them as well. Nimble Hooves is lovely, everyone likes extra speed. I think Halo is just really cool. Having a light halo above your head at all times is just, it's just really cool. We have Irrepressible here, yet again, an amazing feat. And of course, the flavor for this is just amazingly good. You can even grab wings if you go down the angelic route, or I guess devil wings, whatever you like. Now this should probably be A tier, but as I personally just love angelic ancestries, I'm gonna make this S tier. It's my tier list after all. The Oreads come from earth elementals, and you may get something like a metallic sheen or stony flesh or glittering gemstone eyes. Again, low light and dark vision. And some of the feats are nice. Dust Soul is lovely because you don't have to eat or drink anymore, actually. You can just sustain yourself on dirt and ash. If you're going for a tanky build, Fortify Shield once per day is pretty solid, but outside of that, nothing really amazing. The Burrow Speed is pretty good at level 13 with one with earth, but yeah, nothing groundbreaking, lol. And so I think this is another another C tier for me. I think the flavor, like most of the elemental ones, are just, it's okay, but it's nothing spectacular. The Reflection heritage is kind of creepy, as you are apparently a duplicate of another creature known as your progenitor. This can have some very interesting roleplay interactions. As for feats, there's barely any of them. Although I do like Warped Reflection, as it's just kind of creepy, which, I mean, that's what this whole heritage is about. Warp Likeness can be kind of cool if you're a martial in melee, but this just seems very specific and very mirror related. I don't know if a mirror has ever come up in any of the campaigns that I've run so far. Obviously Reflections do, but still. I think this is going to have to be D tier for me. I just think it's interesting flavor-wise, but mechanically there's not much variety, and it's kind of rubbish. Onto the Suli, who are descended from a dichotomy of opposing elemental planar forces. Again, we have the low light or dark vision, and the feats are, of course, elemental based. Elemental Assault at level 1 could be useful for enemies that are weak to certain damage types, and the dual-born lineage can be good as well. Resistance to certain damage types is always good, but again, we have no level 17 feats here, which kind of makes this one not all that great. I think, honestly, because of the lack of level 17 feats, I'm just putting this into D tier. I feel like I don't have much other choice. You must be punished for not having those feats, like how I get punished every day for being ugly when I look in the mirror, because you know they break. The Sylph heritage descends from air elementals. Yet again, low light or dark vision, and we do actually have some level 17 feats here, so I don't have to cry this time. We also have Swift at level 1, which increases your speed by 5 feet, which is good stuff. Wind Pillow is really cool as well. You take less fall damage and you gain Powerful Leap. Storm Soul can be useful as its resistance to electricity. Slip with the Breeze is great because it gives you both Powerful Leap and Quick Jump for 1 ancestry feat, and Inner Breath at level 9 allows you to hold your breath for an additional hour, which is, it's just so cool. And at level 9, you can get Wings of Air and Fly. This one is so much fun. I'm going A tier for this. The elemental ones don't tend to be that amazing, but this one's just cool. And air is just such a cool element. I just love the idea that even when you're stood in a windless room, your hair blows in a breeze that does not exist because you're just that awesome. The only time that happens for me is when I've been eating too many baked beans, and most would say that it isn't awesome. Talos, as I believe it's pronounced, is a metal-based elemental heritage which gives you maybe gold-looking hair or braided chains. You immediately gain resistance to electricity equal to half your level, and you can cast Detect Metal. Feat-wise, they get some interesting ones, but nothing dramatic. Quick Soul would be good, but it just doesn't ever scale, which makes it obsolete very quickly. Reflective Defense honestly just sounds more fun than useful. Outside of that, the rest of the feats here look kind of pants. They always have some sort of big disadvantage, like Metallic Skin at level 17 giving you AC and resistance, sure, but then you take a minus 10 foot penalty to speed, plus it's 2 actions anyway. This one just makes me sad, and thus it's going to have to be another D tier. I just don't know why you would pick this mechanically, and flavor-wise, it's just kind of meh, as in meh, tull. I'm so handsome. Last but not least in this list of how do you pronounce those words is the Undine. You immediately gain a swim speed of 10 feet and can breathe underwater as well, which is a solid start. I like Brine Soul as a feat. It's only once per day, but as a reaction after enemies hit you, they're going to have to make a fort save or take persistent acid damage and become sickened. And on a crit, it's sickened too. Again, it doesn't scale, which is a bit of a shame, but sickened's great. Tide Hardened is solid. Turning successes to crit successes with cold or water effects is going to be useful at some point. Rime Soul is also good as its resistance to cold, and I do like the level 17 feat Tidal Shield just because you can sustain it for 5 rounds, giving your allies +2 circumstance bonus to AC as long as they remain adjacent to you, and you get a +4 just for 2 actions. Yeah, it's alright. I think this is a B tier. It's one of the better elemental versatile heritages in my opinion, and plus water's pretty cool flavor-wise. And that is the end of my tier list. I hope it helps you next time you're making a character and you're looking at some of the versatile heritages. I'd once again like to thank this video's sponsor, Alluria Publishing. Please check out the book Psionics 2nd edition. Check the link in the description, especially when the Foundry and Path Builder module comes out. I cannot wait, honestly. That is going to do it for this video. If you found it helpful and or enjoyable, please click the like button, consider subscribing, sharing with a friend, and definitely press that hype button to help this smaller channel grow. I really appreciate all of you. And please consider joining as a member or a patron. Links are in the description for priority comment replies and access to the private Discord channel, and you get your name at the end of the videos I make as well if you're into that. I'd like to thank my artist Leandro Notado. video, links are in the description to his awesome work once again, and I'd like to thank my archivists and members: Max Magnus 20019, Ozzy Smith, Nikolai Milenkovic, Carl Travis, Bentfair, Apteryx13, and patrons and archivists Clash Q and Patrick O'Donoghue. But for now, this is Dominic of the Dominic Nomicon, wishing you a fond farewell, and until next time, goodbye.